everyone, and welcome to the jungle. Today it is a wonderfully cool day outside for the beginning of Alabama summer. So I thought it would be a good time to take you around all of the different areas that we are gardening in and cultivating, and show you what progress we've made so far, what we have growing. If you have watched some of my other videos, I go through the different kinds of vegetables that we'll be planting, and we've included some flowers and herbs in that as well. Today I'm going to show you what we've got going on. In these beds we have our lettuces, our broccoli, and our kale, all of our greenery that we just come out and grab and munch on. These guys are huge. Absolutely enormous, and they're starting to have their little heads inside, and our broccoli's over there. We've already gotten one really good harvest of it, as well as our purple cauliflower that is over there in that farthest bed. In this bed we have some of our kale and some of our sage, a couple of different herbs. So in the planting process, and I feel like we're not the only ones that have experienced this, our labels that we had made for all of these wonderful seeds and plants got lost or mixed up. So there are some of these that we don't quite know what are just yet. All of these, we planted the seeds in the little cups at roughly the same time, and these plants in this bed just have not grown as well as these. And so we took note of the difference in the soil that we used and are going to keep track of that to see if that might be some of the growth difference. This is what we've got in these beds up here. We have to keep up a fence around it and keep wire covering over the plants up front, especially because our chickens almost killed all of it when we first put it in. They were absolute menaces and ate down as many of the greens as they could. So we had to do a little makeshift safety cage for these greens. It makes it a little inconvenient, but it keeps them safe from sneaky little beakies. Now we're gonna head over to the herbs and flowers that we have in front of our house. Here's our chamomile. We have so much of it. We've harvested it, I think 2 or 3 times already, and it's due for another one. So we'll get that either today or tomorrow. But we also have some sage and then some mint in there as well, and a couple of other onions or garlic, I think, actually towards the back. And I think that, as of right now, is all that we have in these. And a lot of this is still a work in progress. We still have a lot of planting and fixing and cleaning up to do as we continue to build the little herb and flower garden that we want out front. Also, I just have to show you the cutest thing I found at a yard sale the other day. It is some precious little duckies that someone painted in 1988. Her name is Opal. So thank you, Miss Opal, for this absolutely precious little duck family that keeps our garden safe. Hi, I'm just adding this in as I am editing, and I'm about to go into the library to post this video actually. Today is Thursday, and this coming weekend my family and I are going to the Homestead Festival that is in Tennessee, hosted by Rory Feek. So I'm very excited about the wide variety of educators and vendors that are going to be there, and if you are going, I hope to either see you there or I hope that you have a wonderful time regardless. I will include a link in this if you can still get tickets. I don't know, I'll put a link in there if you can. If not, then I'll cut this part out, and let's get back to the garden tour. As of late, our main focus though has been the big garden out near the barn, because my mother, I think a little over a week ago, had knee replacement surgery, and so the weeks leading up to that, we really wanted to get as much done in that garden out there as we could before she had her surgery, because she loves working in the garden and wanted to be able to help us out as much as she could. Her recovery is going really, really well. A lot of this, even though we did a garden last year, is so very new to me, and it is so gratifying to see the little seeds that we started ages ago grow into what they are now. Our biggest challenge, I know, is going to be pests, because last year we had an enormous bug problem and we just could never get on top of it. And we also had a problem with some different funguses that got some of our beans. some of our peas, and this year we're going in so much more prepared. So hopefully we'll be able to stay on top of it this time and keep our garden safe and healthy to the best of our ability. Welcome to the garden. I thought it would be a perfect day to show you guys a little bit of the progress that we have made in our garden over the past month or so, maybe a bit more. A lot of what you see here has really just happened over the past month or so. That's when a majority of this work has taken place. So let's take a look around. All of the mulch that you see in between, we put really just that first row out, and then we hired some guys to come out and help put the rest of that out. This is our first row where we have our tomatoes and our lima beans down at the end. This is our first year to try this kind of tomato support. Normally we have the round tomato cages, but we saw this in a couple of different YouTube videos with the cattle panels and really wanted to try it because it looked like it was a lot easier to set up and maintain. So we have, in this row, we have wide variety of tomato kinds. Tomato what? Breeds? Varieties, tomato varieties. And in between each tomato plant, we have some different kinds of basil, and we have some marigolds interspersed with the vegetables that we want to grow to have a little bit of variety, not only for aesthetics, but also because the flowers will hopefully take some of the attention of the pests off of our vegetables. On this side right here, we have compost up and around, protecting the plants and helping to keep in moisture and just providing nutrients and whatnot. We have not done that on this side yet, so I think this is the only row we have that done on. But we're gonna keep working to get that fully covered. I was wrong earlier, I said these were limas. These are our pole beans, but this year we have taken some of the cattle panels we got and have done an arch over, a nice little trellis for them to climb. Some of them are already starting to climb, which is really, really cool. I'm excited to see how that's gonna turn out. This is the first year we've done an over the head arch, and hopefully it will work better than what we tried last year. These next couple of rows here are black-eyed peas, and then at the ends of those we have some squash going on, and I think that's the zucchini. And then at the very end of these rows we have okra. Now some of these are looking pretty pitiful. We were already struggling with pests, and we tried treating them, and it did not work. So we may have to go through and replant those. We have our limas bumping up against our other variety of tomatoes. We have a lot of tomatoes. And then on the other side of that, we have some flowers down at the end that are babies, so you can't really see them. Towards the end of some of our lima rows, we have more squash, and we have some calendulas. We have our calendulas here, and at the end of that row over there, some of them from the transplant did not do very well, but then others did. We have a little bud there, which I'm excited to see what that looks like when it blooms. So our ground in this garden, this is only our second year gardening in this garden, and our ground is still very rocky, and the soil is clay. So when it rains or when we water it and it dries out, it gets very cracked, it's hard, it is not most conducive to easy growing. This is only our second year growing in this garden, so I know that will continue to get better and continue to get easier as we amend the soil and keep it healthy and continue to work on that. So I know that will get easier over time. Okay, so after my peppers, we have some Chinese noodle beans on both sides, and then after that, more peppers. We have just a little interlude. We split up the Tabasco peppers from the other kinds of peppers that include jalapenos because my sister is allergic to jalapeno peppers, and we wanted to just keep the ones that she would eat separate so that there was no chance of intermingling, because that's the last thing we want. The other day they had cute little purple blossoms on them, and so now we have little baby peppers. Look at that. After that, we just have our other rows of beans. What beans are these? We have our purple whole beans on these 2 rows, and then towards the end we have our blue lake bush beans. And then at the very, very end, let's see here. Okay, at the end, at the very, very bottom of the garden, we have our black beans. And all of this is just 1/2 of the garden. Let's go take a look at the other half. Welcome to the crime scene. That is the other half of our garden. So we ran out of time before we could quite get the rows the way we wanted them to be. And we have our corn over here. But, I'm gonna get the camera. Okay. So we have our corn in these 4 rows going up. Originally we had it in 8 rows. We had pencil cob and popcorn, and it all got eaten, all of the seeds. We came out a couple of days later and there was nothing left, but a little hole where a seed used to be. So it kind of turned out for the better, because we did replant, but we did a little bit more research. We've never grown corn before, and we didn't quite understand how the pollination works and how finicky it can be, depending on, especially pencil cob, if it's grown too close to another kind of corn. And so we're going to let the pencil cob grow and get on up before I replant the popcorn, so that it balances out a little more, and so that hopefully it will not cause any mishaps in growing or in production. So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.